Welcome back to the Coaching in Early Intervention Training and Mentorship Program podcast or webinar series. We want to continue the series by sharing some feedback from providers who have completed the CEI TMP. We have continued to seek feedback from participants along the way at each stage as they transition through discovery, mentorship, fidelity, and professional development phases. And we thought it would be good to share some of that feedback with you. One of the key factors in, or objective, shall we say, in the program is for providers to consider their individual professional society or organization policy statement around early intervention services. The American Occupational Therapy Association, Speech and Hearing Association, Physical Therapy Association, and the Division of Early Childhood all have policy statements on early intervention. And so one of the goals we have for our program is that providers will consider these guidelines and reflect upon that and compare it to what their current practice looks like when they enter the program. And so as providers have exited the program, we ask them if their participation in the program resulting in them evaluating their existing knowledge and practices and comparing to your field's recommended practices in early intervention. And as you can see here, 91% of the providers indicated that they did. They reflected upon that, and it did lead to some changes in their practice. If we look at the common themes, we ask providers, what is one thing that has changed with your home visits? And if we look at what the common themes are, providers have told us that the coaching approach provides them with a consistent structure for sessions. And there's more joint planning with families. One provider said, I feel my sessions flow much better as the weeks go on compared to before the training started. I feel more empowered and, quote, on my game, unquote, to gauge families in sessions where their priorities are sought and supported. Another provider said that the program has really allowed them to switch their focus towards encouraging and equipping parents to be involved and as the therapist, less being the lead and implementing, quote, my plan instead of theirs. Another provider noted that in cohort 6, that the family is now leading the visit. They're stating their priority for each session instead of me, which was exciting to that provider. And another provider noted that they're becoming more focused on the family and getting to know their concerns more intimately. Another common theme that we have seen in the written feedback from providers relate to communication. Providers have indicated that they're listening more and talking less, that they're using more questions and specifically some reflective questions. One provider noted, I feel one of the most important things that has changed in my home visits is that I'm listening more and the family wants to tell me what they have worked on and get really excited to tell me what they worked on and what they tried during the week. Another provider noted, when I model, I ask questions more, much more. I get parent input on where we go next instead of just telling them where we should go next. Another common theme is that providers are telling us families are more engaged in their early intervention services. And I think these are some of the most exciting comments and feedback that we have from providers. One provider noted, I am intentionally inviting the family to practice some ideas, modeling if they have asked me, which they usually do, and am opening the way during the session to be hands on with their child, building confidence as they employ strategies on their own. Another provider noted that I'm helping families to understand how to work with their child and show them they are capable of helping them learn when I am not around. It has to make them think more of what is important to them to learn, what they want to focus on, and they don't forget it after I leave. Another provider noted, I have a newfound respect for parents' involvement. I trust them now with their child's improvement. I needed to feel that it was me who was actually helping these kiddos. I'm now able to share in their successes. Another provider noted, parents are staying in the room and off their phones more. They are talking more about their concerns and what is and what isn't working. Many parents have started doing the things that I do naturally. This consistency really helps their child progress. And I think these lead to a general sense in the last theme is that families are more confident. A provider noted that parents and caregivers express how happy they are feeling because they're more knowledgeable. They all said they feel smarter about their child and are more involved in handling situations compared to before when we simply discussed or I modeled it for them. I've seen a great transformation in my parents. So beyond how their practice has changed as providers, we also ask providers to really rate their knowledge of coaching in general as they exit the coaching and early intervention training and mentorship program. And what we see here is that our providers have a range of comfort level with coaching practice. Some feel they have an advanced knowledge. It's a pretty small chunk of the pie, but most feel they're in intermediate, advanced, or an intermediate understanding of coaching practices to implement. And so if we look at this pie graph, 92% of our providers feel like they have at least intermediate knowledge. And we see that as we look at outcomes. So when we compare, this figure is for cohorts 1 through 6. If we look at the provider performance on the Kentucky's coaching adherence rubric, we see clear changes in provider ability to utilize coaching quality indicators. So if we compare baseline video submissions, and then if we look at where they score on the adherence rubric in fidelity phase, providers are showing significant improvement. And so they're joint planning more with families. They're asking reflective questions. They're using action and practice within sessions and providing feedback to families. And so we're seeing a great transition in coaching quality indicators that really provide a quantitative measure of what providers are telling us in their written feedback. So we want you to hear more of their perspective. And so we've recorded a series of podcasts, interviews with providers. And so these are provider perspectives. We have a couple of providers, Elizabeth McLaren and Adrian Hatton, who we recorded just as they were exiting that first phase of discovery phase. We have a couple of other providers, Jennifer Lindberg and Krista Emmerich, who have completed the program. So we did an interview with them right as they were exiting the program. And then we also interviewed Wanda Bowser, who was in maintenance space. So she was in one of our really early cohorts and has now resubmitted a video for maintenance after a period of time. So I want you to enjoy these. We have really enjoyed interacting with providers as they're in the program and exiting, and hope that their perspective will be helpful in understanding the goals of the program, how manageable the program is, how it has changed their early intervention services, and what their primary benefits are, what they perceive as the primary benefits of the program are. So please enjoy these. Our next podcast series, we will be providing some parent perspectives. So in addition to the parents, we have a couple of parent-provider dyads that will be doing a similar interview to get their perspective on coaching in general in early intervention. So be on the lookout for those sessions. And as always, if you have questions, you can use our service account, coaches@louisville.edu. Thanks much, and if you have questions, feel free to reach out.